Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to join you on the day of the announcement of the awarding of the Champions of the Earth to Her Excellency Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the people of Bangladesh. Bangladesh, as we know, is one of the countries most vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. Cyclones, floods, droughts. These have all been, of course, a part of the country's history, but now they have intensified in recent years. How Bangladesh manages its vulnerability and builds resilience to climate change will in many ways determine whether it can achieve the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda and the very ambitious Sustainable Development Goals, including the eradication of poverty. But Bangladesh has not been standing still in the face of increased threats to its development. The Bangladesh Climate Change Strategy and Action Plan of 2009 was one of the first from a developing country that set out a vision of tackling climate change and its impacts on a country's development. Bangladesh was also the first country to set up its own climate change trust fund, supported by nearly $300 million of domestic resources. And the government currently spends about $1 billion a year, 75% of that from its own national resources, on dealing with climate change, something that it can track more closely thanks to support from UNEP and partners. And talking of partnership with UNEP, we're very proud to have many partnerships with Bangladesh, but let me just mention three. The first of those is the Poverty and Environment Initiative. Since 2010, UNEP, in partnership with UNDP, has been working with the government of Bangladesh to make climate change adaptation central to national development planning and budgeting. Second of all, we've also been working together to build resilience in the drought-prone areas of Bangladesh and in the wetlands of the country through ecosystem-based adaptation, finding nature-based solutions to building resilience of local communities. And finally, we very much worked hand in hand with Bangladesh being one of the founding members of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, a coalition set up to deal with the nexus between air pollution and climate change, dealing with the impacts of air pollution on agriculture, on health, on local and global climate. And all of this brings us to the Champions of the Earth Award. This year's award in the Policy Leadership category has been given to Her Excellency Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the people of Bangladesh in recognition of this extraordinary track record of leadership, especially on climate change, and probably in anticipation of the tough choices that lie ahead to ensure that long-term solutions and long-term decision-making remain a core of Bangladesh's policy environment. And this is quite a legacy for the country and quite a momentum to take into the Paris Climate Change Agreement and talks at the end of the year in December, where again we will be looking for the leadership of Bangladesh amongst the community of countries. It has been a pleasure to talk with you today, and we look forward to much greater action on the ground in Bangladesh to face climate change.